fly from Exeter in south-western England to Kirkwall, up in the north of the UK, up near Scotland. So, a little bit different. I'm going to take off with a tailwind out of Exeter. I've planned the route myself. I'll put some links in the description where you can download the UK AIP. It gives you absolutely everything you need for this flight. Gives you the airway charts, gives you all the AIP charts, aerodrome charts, things like that for this. We're going to do the RNP up there. We're going to assume the ILS is out of service in Kirkwall. We're quite on the limits for the 737 operation. It's a very short runway up there at Kirkwall. Real life probably wouldn't really do it. Not in the 800. You'd probably do it in a smaller variant of the 737 because it's only 1,400 meters long up there. But I'm quite confident we can make that. We've got a little bit of a headwind up there, taking off with the tailwind here, and it's a standard 3-degree path down on the RMP down into Kirkwall, so it shouldn't be too bad. So I planned the route myself again. I'm not stealing anyone's routes or anything like that. I just planned it, had a look at the charts, went A to B really. Put some airways in between, some waypoints, something that looks realistic, that would most likely get accepted with a flight plan if you were to file it. So let's crack on. So we'll go back into the cockpit. Cold and dark as usual. We're going to do about 5.5 tons of fuel for this, so that should be okay. That should work nicely. Let's put the battery on. Good stuff. So let's do a fire test because we need the APU. 1, 2, 3. Overheat detect, master caution and the fire warnings. The lights are turned on. Great. Okay. Let's put a pump. Start that up. Yeah. So we'll just get the APU started and then we'll run through this routing today. I've done it on pieces of paper. This is the best way you can plan a route. So you look at your airway charts on the AIP. Again, I'll publish the link below. It's just the AIP national website for the UK. You look at that. You just get a blank piece of paper and just have a look at the waypoints that you want to go via. And you just link it up. Look at airways. It's got all the airways on there, lower and upper. We're going to do lower airways. It just makes life easy. We'll use the lower airways. We're going to do something a little bit non-realistic. The lower airways are the only ones that are available for this flight, really. The upper stuff, there's not enough of them that go up to Scotland, because I've seen most flights have passengers on board, and you know we're heavy, so we don't really go very high in the UK because obviously it's such a small nation. So yeah, no point in that today. But we're just going to go up high because we'll get there quickest, and we'll get the flight done. So I'll show you how that all works. Right, can't remember what I was doing now. Setting up the plane. That one, that one, that one. Test these, that's fine. Let's do the fire warning again. Wheel well this time. Happy. Squibs are over there, just say we've checked them. And I'll hold it on this one, okay? Yep, that's fine. That's fine, that's fine. Guards down. Brilliant stuff. Right, so. Put these in nav. Voice recorder. Check that. Check that. Stall warners. Okay, that works. That normally comes on instantly. Put the pumps on, and have I forgotten anything? Refueling's done. So I'll just put the belts on now, that's fine. Yeah, lights are all correct. That is good. Cool. Alright then, let's start. We should do a light test really as well. Keep the realism. Yeah, they're all on. They're all on. Looks good to me. Back to bright. About these. Yeah, you do both sides. Yeah, I haven't flown for a while. Off on sick leave at the moment, so everything's a bit funny today. I'm a bit slow. QNH today 1025. 1025. Let's put this into QNH. Yep, there we go. Cool. Alright then, enter the IRS position. Perfect. This is very out of date. You'll have to excuse me. It is what it is. Right, so that's in there now. Let's just put the route in. Routing. So we're going from Exeter. There's no SIDS here, so it's Echo Golf Tango Echo. And we're flying to Kirkwall, which is Echo Golf Papa Alpha. Echo Golf Papa. There's B. There it is. Alpha. Call sign. Light Aviator. 23 today. Why not? Runway out of Exeter. We're going to use 08 for departure. She's popped up. Perfect. Dispatcher arrival. So, otherwise, if you don't know the runways, they're here. They're alright. Good. There's no SIDS. None. No. Can't use anything. We have to make our own thing up. Now, lucky for you, I've had a look at the RNP chart into Exeter to find a waypoint that was on the approach inbound on runway 26. So opposite way of 26, 00. So that will work on our extended centre line basically. So we're on a waypoint. So you go to routes. Okay, so you don't do a via, you just go direct to, and that waypoint was called Nexan. So N-E-X-A-N. Nexan. There she is. So 08, straight to Nexan. So that's 10, so you're looking at about 15, 17 miles more or less to Nexan from the runway. It's not too bad. That's okay. Nexan, then we're going to do a left turn to Exmoor. Exmoor. Top one. That is... Yeah, no, that's wrong. That is not where we are. We are further north. Exmoor. No. Yep, that makes sense. After Exmoor, we're going to head on the November 864. So this is an airway now, November 864. To Asnud. So this is all new to me. Never been to Exeter before. I've flown into Exeter before in real life, and I've never flown into Kirkwall. So this is all new. So I'm a novice to this for once, which is nice. I like challenging myself, doing different things. So sorry, Papa 600 from Asnud is another airway. It goes to Alpha Delta November, which I believe is Aberdeen. Don't quote me on that, but I'm 90% sure it's Aberdeen. And then we're going to do a left turn to Wick. VOR or NDB, I'm not sure which one it is. There's no airway on this. I couldn't figure it out if there was one or not, so I just went, let's go direct to the waypoint. That's good. And then what we're going to do is go to arrival now. Echo Golf Papa Alpha. It's going to be the RNP, so we'll select that. RNAV 27. RNAV 27, that's fine. And we're coming in via the south. I'll put the charts up on screen so you can see what's going on. But you're coming in from the south. You're coming in via a waypoint called Abtor, which is here. Abtor. Brilliant. We'll just activate that, and there's going to be a discontinuity because I know for a fact that from Abtor and then, sorry, from Wick to Abtor, you can see we're stepping through now. Aberdeen to Wick, and then there's a discontinuity to Abtor, which is there. Basically, just join it up. There's no airway, there's nothing, we just go direct. And in real life, I'm not being funny, in real life this would work. Let's put Abtor there. Abtor to Wick, it's linked up, cool. Perfect. What I'll do is I shouldn't really, but I'll execute it now, and then it's just done. You can step through the route now. Nexan, Exmoor, and now these waypoints, we didn't put them in, but this is all linked in with the airway November 864. Okay, so this is all the little waypoints on that airway. Off we go. There's a load of stuff. This is why you want to put an airway in. You know, you don't want to put all these waypoints in manually because, you know, you could be putting in 9 pages worth of routing. Yep, that all looks good. Yep, good. There we go. How far is it? 530 miles. That's actually quite far. I guess we are going from the south to the very north of the UK. So there you go. It is. It's quite a long way, even like this. Let's populate the rest of this now. Cost index. We want to get there today, so let's do 100. Reserve wise, we'll say 1.8 tons. That'll get us to Inverness. That should get us Inverness. That should be fine. 0 fuel weight. Just put what's ever in the machine. 42.3. We're very light. We're empty today, so that's normal. Cruising. Since we can go up to 4.1. Do you know what? Let's do it. Let's go all the way up. I know it's lower airways, but you know what? We're just going a little bit different today. So be it. We're going to get above all the traffic, above all the weather with that. And why not? It's summer. There might be some CBs about. You don't know. Let's have a look. Cruise winds. Just leave that empty. There's no point in doing anything. 6,001 feet. is transition altitude here at Exeter, I believe. I'm not actually sure. I have the chart somewhere, but I can't be bothered to look. I think it's about 6,000. Normally is in the UK. Awesome. And yeah, and on limit page, what we're doing, that's fine. It's 23 degrees outside. That's already selected. We'll do this in a minute. That's fine. That's good. And route data wise, no, we don't need to do route data. It's just the average winds, but we haven't even put a wind in to start off with, so that's absolutely fine. However, outside air temperature at top of climb, it won't be minus 56. We are hot today. We are ISA plus. I'm thinking for 23 it's 15, so that's going to be 8 plus 8. So it won't be minus 56. That'll be minus 48. There we go. That's more accurate now. Good. Alright, that's all set up. Routing's in there and everything. I just set the aircraft up now. Put my flight path vector on. I like to use that to fly. We're going to put the airports up at terrain. Bring that into a more reasonable range. We're making this up, okay? So we'll just say we're cleared to 5,000 feet initially. And it's runway 08 out of here. I'm just looking at the chart because I don't know off the top of my head. Never been here before, as I keep saying. I should have really planned this, but I'm just doing this willy-nilly. So it's 077 degrees magnetic is the runway heading. So 077. Just because it says 08 doesn't mean it's 080. It's you know, it changes by a few. It's quite normal. We're not backing this up because I'm not being funny. I mean, yeah, 077. Sorry, you could put that on one side, 077. You could use a reminder. But there's no conventional navigation aids backing anything up here. This is, in a way, it's a visual departure. It's a bit abnormal, I know, but it is visual. So we go to Nexan, and then after that we go to Exmoor, 330 degrees. So there you go. We can have those as some reminders about what we're doing there. And because we're really good at what we do, we're going to go to the fix page. We're going to put in, I can't remember the code now, EGTE. Echo, Golf, Tango, Echo. And then we're going to put a 25-mile ring around it. So then we know that the MSA, we're safe if it all goes terribly wrong. All goes tits up, as we like to say. If we go above a certain altitude in this area, which I believe is about 4,000 feet, you're safe. That's good. What does it say? 2.9. Terrain, 2.9 is worst case. So yeah, we'll go to 4. 4,000 feet gives us nice and safe. And we stay within 25 miles, we're safe. That's good. Bit of situational awareness there going on. Good. Right, so put that to RTO. We've checked our oils. They're fine. They're full. Yeah, that's all good. Got the APU running. We'll just reset this because the APU's been running a bit. Right, can start doing our overhead flow. Put the yaw damper on normal auto. We'll do this. Bright blue, dim blue, bright blue, and off. Bingo. 4 pumps. Nothing in the centre. I've got 5.5 tons of fuel. That's fine. Scan down here. That's fine. That's fine. That's on. We're on the APU. Down the middles. As a normal. Emergency lights are on. That's on. That's fine. That's fine. Coming down here. Window heats. It's good. On. No anti-ice. That's fine. Electrics are on. That's fine. Normal lights coming down here. That's fine. That's on. Trim air can go on. Do you know what? Hot day. Let's put the air on. Go up to 41,000 feet. Don't know why that goes up to 42, but okay. And Kirkwall, how high is it? Aerodrome elevation 58. Round it up, okay? Not 50, 100. Rounding up, automatic. We're not having a Helios event. Put it on the left. Ignition. We've set this MCP panel up. This is all set. FO side isn't. I'll put terrain, airport, traffic. Assume he or she in a bit. That's fine. I would set the MFRA here with the Barrow, but it just takes so long I can't be bothered. Nav aids, don't need to do anything. We've done the fire warnings. Done the fire warning for the cargo. This is 0. This is 0. Test our oxygen. Good. Lighting, just leave it how it is. It's fine. Don't need to touch it. That is it. That's a trim out about 4 units. That's fine. Good. Okay, let's do our pre-departure critical FMC entry. So 42.3 tons. That's our final figure. We've also got a load sheet. That's fine. That's our zero fuel weight. We know that's our gross weight. That makes sense. Basically, the difference is the fuel. There you go. Work it out. Done. Finished. That's good. Executed. And we'll limit page. We'll have a look, 23 degrees outside. It's a short runway here, we've got a tailwind. So we're going to go 26k, and we're going to go full thrust. We're just going to keep it simple, 26k full. 98.9 on the thrust. Perfect. Takeoff page. Flaps 5 is the best with performance and, yeah, using up runway length and all of that, and climb gradient. It's brilliant. Flaps 5 is great. So we'll keep flaps 5. Center of gravity, just double click it. Keep it simple. 3.91. Oh my goodness. Let's have a look. About there. Yeah, about there, really. That's good. Speeds 13, 14, 29. 13, 14, 29. V229 knots. 129. Very low. Remember, we're light. It's normal. It's set. MFRA, we would have it here, but oh well. Speeds are on the screen. There they are. And yeah, that's simple. We're done. Great. Okay, so you'd run through your checklist. So we're going to have takeoff page on my side, leg page on the FO side, pilot flying was his takeoff page. I think we can start up our engines. Okay, so we get the clearance, we got that, great. Put the transponder to alt off, clear to start the engines. So, packs will come off, anti-collision light goes on, parking brake is set. Transponders and alt off. Make sure those are idle. We start the engines. Start number 2. First, so starting engine 2. Secondary displays are on. You've seen my other videos, so I'm not going to explain it. You know what we're doing. N2. Oil pressure. N1. 25. Lights out. EGT rise. We got fuel flow. This is rising behind this. This also rises behind this. On the max, slightly different. On the NG, that's how it goes. Starter's flicked. But the starter hasn't cut out yet. The starter will cut out when that light goes off. That's the sound. There it is. It's gone out. Monitor the engine. Red line's gone. We're stable. Starting engine 1. And 2. Oil pressure. N1. Lights out above, I'm sure they are, we're in the sim. Starter cut out. Engine 1. Red line is gone. It's stable. Great. It's on the bus. AP can go off. Continuous. Probes. Anti-ice not required. Packs are auto. Isolation is auto. AP bleed is off. Those are on. Coming down here. Flaps are 5. 5. You wait for that to do its magic. Do your flight control check. Fully forwards, fully aft, to the left, to the right. Rudders, left, right, neutral. Idle. Recall. Check the hydraulics, blank the low DU. We got a 5, we got a green light. And that's it. We're good to go. Alright, so, Exeter. Get taxi straight ahead here. Take the left over there. We get to the runway. Via taxiway, holding point Alpha 1. And off we go. Not going to make this too difficult. Let's go. Brakes off. There we go. Always difficult. Do a config check. Config's checked. No more than 40%. Don't need it. I think the lines are a little bit wrong here, so off we go. So obviously you do some checks on the taxi out. Just say we're happy. Oh, let's get to turn the taxi lights on. That windsock is very close. Hopefully we don't hit it with our wing. Should be okay. There you go, taxi lights are on, didn't forget. There's the holding point, Alpha 1. Again, I'll put the chart up on the screen. I'll put that on so you can see what's happening. I'll put a link, I'll do a Dropbox link or something like that, so you can download the charts that I'm using for this. I'm just using AIP charts, and I'll link special from other videos I use different charts. I couldn't publish those for you guys, unfortunately. So there's the holding point. Just going to hold off here. The trick, how do you know to not go past it? There you go. You just want it in the corner of the window. Great. So we're about to enter an active runway. So we're cleared to line up and we're cleared to take off. So you put those on all flashy. Put all the lights are on. You're going to arm the auto throttle. Arm LNAV. There it is. So our routing works. Brilliant. Just decrease that a bit. Put the transponder. Oh, there we go. So the NCP is set. Transponder TARA, strobe lights are on, and the landing lights are on. And that is it. Good. Let's go. Flaps are there. Done our config. Trim's good. So this is brilliant. We're ready to go. All we have to do now is just press toga, follow the flight directors, and we're away. Not too much thrust on this turn, there's no point. Even at 40 tons, this is a heavy aeroplane. You know, it's not a private jet, this thing is big. It may look small, it's not the biggest of Boeings, but have you noticed I'm not following the yellow line? You don't have to now. I'm trying to turn this plane. My yoke, my rudder pedals, my rudder does something different with the tiller. So if I turn it all the way, there we go. It stops turning the nose completely. Using differential thrust, as you can see. I did overdo it a bit. That's okay. We'll just line up a bit better. We need 40% thrust anyway. Close enough. Okay, check your tracking with the runway. Everyone's happy. So 077, 075. Auto throttle's disconnected for some reason. We'll put that back in. We start our timing. Press toga. Set the takeoff thrust. Look straight ahead. Takeoff thrust is set. Indications are normal. A little bit of forward pressure.
80 knots.
It's checked.
E1. Rotate.
Nice smooth rotation. Slight tailwind here. 15 degrees. Positive rate. Gear up. Follow flight directors. We don't want to pitch above 20 degrees. That's 400 feet. LNAV. LNAV. Keep it at 20. Flight directors are wrong here. 1,000 feet coming up. Command A. Bug up. We're light, we're full thrust. This thing is a rocket ship. She will keep going. Oh, the auto throttle keeps cutting out, it's my fault. So we're accelerating now, that's one. That's one. Accelerating again, flaps up. Got the wider radar on now. Got one to go. The flaps are retracting. Altitude acquire. We would have gone vertical speed normally, but there's no point. No traffic. Just leave it. Okay. Leveling off here at 5,000 feet. The flaps are up. There are no lights. After takeoff checklist. That goes to off. Gears up and off. Start switches are off. That taxi light, which is also a confirmation of landing, is off. Check your air conditioning pressurization. And you're done. Release the crew if you want. And we're on our way now. Off to Scotland. You can also accelerate a bit. Doing 190 knots isn't the best. We've got a bit of a sharp turn coming up. Just say we've got a direct Exmoor. Exmoor on top. Looks correct. Execute. LNAV. LNAV. Off we turn. Got a clear climbing clearance limit. Say we're clear to climb now. Going up. So flight level 170. That's set. 170 is checked. VNAV. VNAV. Always confirm your FMAs. Let's go speed intervent. At the moment, because we're still in the turn. Passenger comfort. That's fine now, we can start accelerating. Press speed intervent again, it will go to 250. 250 below 100. Okay. So, climbing to flight level now. Set standard. Big altitude change. Passing 5,000. Sorry, flight level 51. Climbing 170. That is set once. 3 times. Match our heading. She is climbing like a rocket ship. Look at this, 5,000 feet a minute. This is a brilliant, brilliant aircraft when you're light. Climbing away. Absolutely amazing. Smooth sailing for the moment. Have a look. So we're going to get there at 13:59 Zulu, it says. It's 12:48. Alright, yeah, good hour. Fair enough. And we'll be landing with 2.4 tons. Not too bad. Back to the climb page. Alright, passing flight over 100, so we do our 100 checks. So, fuel is balanced. 4 pumps are on. Lights, unnecessary lights are off. APU's off, aircon and press is pressurizing nicely, it's all set. Passengers, will release them. Belts to auto. Check the recall. 1215, you tune in and listen to it. There you go. That's 10 checks complete. We're accelerating now. VNAV's doing it all for us. Target speed is 313.8. In the cruise, 808. In the descent, 808, 330. And then 240 below 100. Just change that now. Doesn't hurt. 250 below 100 in descent. Yeah, we're buzzing along. We do have a little bit of wind up here actually. We'll see what the wind is when we get to top of climb, and then we'll put that in as a cruise wind, because I can't remember what I've set. 5 minutes. Reset the timer, but keep the running timer, the elapsed time. So we've got a direct again. I won't do it here because I can't really touch it without touching the throttles. So we've got direct Mulo. Mulo's on top. There it is, in the center. Execute. LNAV. LNAV. So we've got a climbed clearance level. We keep climbing now. Flight level 290. Set. 290 is checked. VNAV. Call the climb mode. Because you never know. This could happen. Control wheel steering pitch. No one is flying the plane. You got to be careful. I can wiggle this up and down. Dangerous. Control wheel steering pitch is dangerous. So, VNAV. Check your modes. Control wheel steering. If you don't know what it is, it's a reduced form of automation on the 737. We very rarely use it. Use it in turbulence. That's about it, really. It's manual flight, but with some Airbus-like handling characteristics. It will trim for you. So, unlike normal aircraft and the Boeings, you have to trim. You know, like the Airbus, it will trim for you. Otherwise, you have to trim yourself. You know, you will fly a different pitch. You'll have to trim. Remember, you trim for an airspeed. You don't trim for a pitch. You trim for an airspeed. So if you're doing 313 knots like we are right now, if I was to kill the power, reduce the power back to 0, the plane is in trim for 313 knots. That's it. We will not go any faster, any slower. The plane will start to pitch down because you reduce the power, and it will want to fly 313 knots because that is what the aircraft, the airframe, is trimmed for. Obviously, the way to change that, you overpower by pitching up. You'll pull the power back, you'll pitch up, you'll keep the attitude, the speed will trickle off, and you will re-trim to whatever speed you then desire. And then you're trimmed for that speed. You don't trim your attitude, you trim the speed. It's one of the basic rules of flying that I'm sure everyone here knows, but there you go, a little lesson for today. So yeah, we're going to climb up 410 and we're going to get down to Kirkwall. I'll get the charts up for everyone so you can see. Actually, what I can do for this section, this segment of flying, is I could put up the airway charts so you can vaguely see where we're going via. What I'll try and do is I'll try and get the charts up and I'll highlight the routing that I just created for you. And the good thing is with this routing, actually, you would probably be able to send this through the air traffic systems and services, NATS, to file a real-life flight plan. This routing is legit. The altitude is probably wrong, because we did it on the lower airway charts, and lower airways, off the top of my head, I cannot remember, but I think it's anything below 245, something like that, flight level 245. But anyway, so if you filed a lower flight level, so I'm not being funny, if you were in a light aircraft, something that any one of us could actually afford to do, and rent out, let's say a Cessna 172 or a Diamond DA42 Twin Star, a Cirrus 22, something like that, something with IMC capabilities, maybe hopefully with an autopilot, and obviously you'll be probably landing in between. You could file this flight plan and it'd probably get accepted, and you'd probably be able to actually fly this route in real life. How efficient is it as a route? I'm not 100% sure. It's a pretty damn straight line, but there's a few wiggles. Like there's that little kink at the end where we go towards Aberdeen. I do not think that's necessary, but obviously, you know, each to their own. I did it that way because I couldn't really find any other routing. I could have done Aberdeen minus 15-20 miles and then gone to Wick, but it's not really a routing. Let's say we're cleared now all the way up, 4-1. That's set, 410 is checked. Now we're in VNAV, but it's like we're in altitude hold. I've never seen this before, so we'll just go to level change. Go back to VNAV. VNAV speed. That's better, that's more realistic. Now we should go up. Thrust's going up. Power's increasing. We're aiming for the thrust. Up we go. Good. Gonna go through flight level 300, angular bank 10. Checking the pressurization. Well, I've got the wiper on. Yeah, that looks okay. Go up to 4-1. Perfect. Now, Kirkwall. From what I've seen of the place, the RNAV seems pretty simple. That's not going to be the problem. The problem is going to be the runway length. It's short, and I mean it's really short. We've got like a 40-meter displace threshold. Not brilliant, but it will be okay. And we're going to go through that very quickly. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to float. We want to have a nice touchdown, nice positive touchdown, minimal flare. Well, we want a flare obviously because we don't want to break the plane, but we don't want a nice soft butter landing where we leave hundreds and hundreds of meters of runway behind us. Now we're light. We're going to have a headwind, which is fine, and we're going to do it at flaps 40. And maximum auto brake, maximum reversers, but it's a dry runway. So the reversers don't actually do anything to help you stop on a dry runway. They only reduce your landing distance on a contaminated or a wet runway. They don't help your landing distance at all on a dry runway. All they do, they just reduce the amount of braking action that the brakes are going to do. And it means your brakes will cool quicker. So if you're on a quick turnaround, let's say a half an hour, 40-minute turnaround, you'll use the reversers if you've got a heavy aircraft. We're going to use it because we've got maximum auto brake, and then we're going to do maximum manual braking because that's even better than maximum auto brake. And their brakes are going to be bloody hot, so we really want to cool those down. And in this simulator, we get brake overheat failures. And yeah, so we don't want that. We don't want the tyres to pop. So yeah, we're going to use the reversers. Make sure those speed brakes come up as well. They dump all the lift off the top of the wing, and that means the weight will be on the wheels. And we want the weight on the wheels because that means the weight is on the tarmac. If it's on the tarmac, that means the brakes are going to be more efficient and we're actually going to stop. It's lovely scenery here, isn't it? The whales. Very nice. Flight Simulator's done a very good job on this, I have to admit. And PMDG were remarkable work on this aircraft. Don't get me wrong, there's a few kinks here and there, but it's very good. They've even got the fuel temperature decreasing ever so slowly. If you think about it, it's 23 degrees on the ground. So that would have been 23 degrees. And now it's going down. It's very good. Absolute limits minus 40 for Jet A1 and Jet A. Jet A I think it's a little bit colder, 43 minus 43. Yeah, you don't want it any colder than that. Then the fuel starts to freeze and you get problems. Engine flame out, stuff like that. Okay, let's say in real life you wouldn't go through any of this. So just say direct Wallasey. So we'll go direct Wallasey. WAL, Whiskey Alpha Lima. It tidies the route up as well. It's quite direct routing actually, when you look at it. Not that bad. Limits for this aircraft, MMO is 0.82, BMO 340 knots. Obviously, I don't even remember your chicken tikka masala. So if you get on your right hand, you get your thumb and your index finger and your middle finger, and you just like 3. So from your middle finger, that's the chicken, the C. Your index finger is the T, the tikka, and then your thumb is the M, the masala. So you got chicken tikka masala. That sounds stupid, but this is how we all remember it. You got your calibrated airspeed, which is basically this here. Your T, which is your true airspeed, where it's just here. And then your masala, which is your Mach number, which is here. So, you think of it about it as a graph. So, if you put your index finger upright, so as you go up in altitude, and you keep that calibrated airspeed 260 knots, your true airspeed, so we're climbing, you keep 260, this true airspeed will increase, and your Mach number will increase. Now, you climb at constant Mach number, which we are doing, so you put the masala, put your thumb vertical now, so you climb at constant Mach number, there it is, 0.81 or 0.808, close enough. Your true airspeed will decrease with altitude, and your calibrated airspeed as well will decrease with altitude. Your calibrated airspeed will decrease a lot more than your true airspeed, which makes sense, which is what we get. And it's the same on the way down, exactly the same, just the other way around. So you descend at a constant Mach number, your true airspeed and your calibrated airspeed will increase. But obviously we've got the inverse because we're going up. This is decreasing, this will decrease as we're going up now. So there's a cut-off point. It's about flight level 300. There's a really rough figure. 290, 280, around there. 2928, you switch in the climb to Mach number. In the descent, maybe a little bit higher, 32. Something like that. You'll switch to then calibrated airspeed. That's how this works. But yeah, it's the calibrated airspeed graph. It's interesting if you like this type of stuff. So we're almost there, flight level 410. How often do we actually do this in real life? Not that often. The aircraft really has to be light, like 30, 40, 50 passengers. You know, you're not going, or maybe 80 passengers and you're not doing a long trip like this. This is the Peak District, Lake District, I think, down here. Yeah, got some lakes. Lovely. Beautiful view. Carlisle and stuff will be in front, underneath. Let's have a look. I actually got quite a long cruise. Over 100 and 200 miles, more or less. 200-300 miles of cruise. So, what we're going to do, we're going to get to our cruise, just to make sure all the FMAs and everything are stable, make sure the aircraft's stable, and we'll start looking at this place, Kirkwall. We'll have a look at what's going on. I've only got a few charts in front of me, I haven't got the whole thing. I've just got the RMP and the general chart for Kirkwall. Got one to go. Let's check. It's doing 800 feet a minute. It's fine. Buzzing 400. You check the pressurization again. We should be right on the limit, actually. If I show you cockpit. Oh no, that's not what we like. We want co-pilot. There we go. You look above here. This is extremely normal. When you look at the manual for the Boeing, it will say the maximum PSI differential pressure is 8.9 or 9.2. I can't remember what it is now. 9.2, something like that. And that's it. It won't say don't go into the amber arc. It won't say that's bad. Don't know why. It just won't. It says fine. I mean, it won't say it's fine, but it just won't say anything about it. There is an amber arc here. I'll zoom in a bit more. It looks like it's all coloured red, but this bit here is red, the little arrow, and then this portion here is an amber arc. This it doesn't matter. You can go into that. The amount of flights we all do on a daily basis, it just does not matter. Absolutely doesn't matter. So that's fine. Never worry about that arc. If you go over, if you're on the red, then yeah, you got a problem. You need to descend, get that differential pressure down. Because obviously, you know, at 41,000 feet, the pressure outside is, what is this, about 300 hectopascals? It's not. It's very low. It's very low. Less than that, even 280, something like that. So you got 0.3. You got 30% of a normal atmospheric pressure outside, and in the aircraft you've got one. You've got about. Actually, you've got less than one. The pressure is 8,000 feet, which I'm trying to remember is how much. Probably about 800, 900 hectopascals, something along those lines. There you go. Hypoxia, that's what it's all about. So we're here, we're in VNAV, LNAV, we're in FSS speed. It's gone automatically to the cruise page, fabulous. M1 limit page, put that into continuous. Continuous. Ignore the blue lines, that's where my throttles are in real life. There you go, we're turning now as well, for Wallasey. So yeah, continuous, just have a look what this does. So you got cruise at 97.5 and then continuous at 100.6. So look here at the green arrow. Look at it change. Look, there you go. Now back to continuous. So it just allows you that little bit of extra thrust up here. So if you hit some turbulence and the speed decreases because you had to hit a mountain wave or something silly, it just gives you that little bit extra 3% of thrust increase. And it's not much up here because your excess thrust is very, very little. A good example, and I suggest you try it out in this aircraft on PMDG in the simulator. So you disconnect the auto throttle and you would reduce the thrust and you'd let this, keep the autopilot in, let this speed trickle down all the way into the amber arc. Okay, maybe 180, a little bit lower. And then what you're going to do, firewall it, put full thrust again. The speed will not recover. You'll have to descend to gain speed. You just will not be able to. The reason behind it is you're behind the, you're on the unstable side of the drag curve. So you're in a region of instability on the drag curve where there's more drag than there is thrust available. The drag curve just looks like a U. And so the middle here, we're on this side. But if you're on the other side, you're just the speed will continue trickling down. You're unstable. It's just unfortunate. It's just how it works. But anyway, that's enough talking about aerodynamics and all this stuff. So I'll chat to you now about Kirkwall, how this works, what we're going to do. So Kirkwall, you got 2 runways at Kirkwall. You've got a easterly westerly runway, and then you've got a northwesterly and a southeasterly runway. Now, runway 1438, this 680 meters, daylight use only, and then you've got runway 2709, which is 1428 meters, 46 meters wide. So we've got a standard width of 737 there, which is actually quite nice, a little bit more than standard, a meter extra wider, but very short. Not pleasant at all. So we're going to try our best to land on that. We should be able to, I don't see why we won't. We're going to have to do a U-turn. Because, yeah, the taxiways are way too narrow by the looks of this. I'm looking at the chart now. They look way too narrow. Doesn't say what they are on this. No, it doesn't. I'm just guessing. Yeah. I'm guessing it doesn't say how strong it is for this aircraft, so we'll leave it be. Yep. So we'll land on runway 27, we'll do a U-turn at the end, and then we'll taxi onto, it'll be a right turn onto runway 314, taxi down to the ends there, and then we're at the terminal building. That's perfect, that's what we want to do. Good. So, and then we've got the RNAV. Right, so let's set up. What are we doing? So frequency-wise, nothing to set up. It's an RNAV. It's no frequencies to use at all for this. You could back it up with the ILS if you want to, but there's no point. So I'll just put a final track in, really. 269 degrees, as a reminder. Again, the courses don't do anything for the final track on an RNP. 269, just a reminder. Put that in on both sides. You know, you do it for every other approach, you might as well do it for this. Water break, 1, 2, 3, max. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a look at the approach as well. We're going to plan it. We don't want to be too fast, we don't want to be too high. You know, there's lots to do. Just go to the end, 505. That's the missed approach. Looks about right. Okay, so the actual RNP approach starts at Abtor. Let's zoom in a bit more. Got Naxil, Aberdeen, Wick, Abtor. There she is. So before we actually do this and have a look at all this, we need to know, it's a bit difficult to tell without range rings what speeds should be. 3-2-1 rule, we've discussed it before. So we've got a runway point, that's a good start. So we get the runway, fixed page, put it in. Put a 4-mile ring in for the gear, 10-mile ring in. Put a 25-mile ring in as well for the MSA if it all goes horribly wrong. Abtor. So it says maximum 210 knots for initial approach. Abtor's the initial approach fix. So is Rudku. So it's maximum. This here is wrong. It says 210 exactly. We don't want to do 210. We're within 10 miles. That's too fast. Remember, we don't want to be fast. We are very short runway. We want to land. So 210, no. Let's get her nice and slow. We're going to do 180 knots below here. I'm not comfortable doing 210. Let's keep that slow. 2,600 feet and above, 2,600 feet and above. That's fine. Next, Rudku. We're looking at 1,600 feet and above. No speed restrictions. Rudku, 1,600 feet and above, no speeds. Again, 210 there. I want 180 below. 180 below, and next point 210 as well. Let's put that 180 below as well. These are hard speeds. This is not good. Get rid of that. So next point after Rudku is going to be Papa Alpha 27 Foxtrot. Papa Alpha 27 Foxtrot. That is our FAF, so that's where we start descending with a angle. Should be. I'm not actually sure what the angle is in this chart. It's not very clear. I'm not used to it, to be honest. I'm guessing it's about, it looks like 3 degrees. Is it a 3 degree slope? 3 degree path, something like that. It doesn't say. You guys will probably find it later and tell me in the comments. I can't see it on the chart. No, I can't see it. Okay, so the FMC's got 2.93, so it's a little bit shallower than 3. But that's okay. That's not a bad. It's not a bad angle, to be honest. It's not steep. If it's steep, it's a nightmare. If it's to control the speed. If it's like this, it's okay. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So the minimas on this, we only have LNAV minimas. We don't have LNAV VNAV minimas. So LNAV VNAV minimas, you can actually select the minima it says on the chart. On this, we've just got LNAV. So Alpha Alpha 27 Foxtrot point. It's a missed approach point. Oh, sorry, I'm yawning again. So it's missed approach point. They've actually named it MA, Mike Alpha 27. Missed approach number 27, which is actually quite nice. And there it is. And then that's the missed approach point. And then we have a runway point there. Which is interesting that there's a missed approach point. So we're going to have to disconnect before that. Otherwise the aeroplane will fly the missed approach. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. Understood. So the track wise 269 degrees, that checks out with the chart. We've got the runway, that's good. Flight directors can stay in unless obviously it gives us the missed approach, and then what we'll do is I'll just get rid of them, or we'll just ignore them completely. You can just ignore them. Hopefully at that point you'll be looking outside anyway. And then down to the minimas, it's LNAV, so we've got to add an increment on top. Category A, B, C. 470 feet. We need to add 40 feet. on top of that because it's LNAV only. So that'll be 510 feet on the minimus. So Barrow, 510 feet. Almost there. And we know the Q&H also, I had set it, and I can't remember what I set it to be. It was 1023, I think. 1025, temperature's 23. 1025. Now, problem with RNAV approaches, if it's hot, you go different Q&H than standards and all this nonsense. It kind of screws up the path. Missed approach as well. So I'll explain the Q&H in a second. So the minimums are there. So missed approach, so I'll just have a look before I deviate on. Looks like it's straight ahead. Ham 04. Oh, hang on. Finish climb 2,600 feet. Initially straight ahead. Turning left at Ham 04. Ham 05. Ham 06. Indirect hold at the NDB. Kilo Whiskey. Then as directed. There's no PAM 04. It just goes to PAM 05. So that's wrong. There should be a waypoint here. Well, let's try and put it in. Let's see if it's there. Yes, it is there. What was that about? Well, this is why... Well, there, that's much better. That's the actual missed approach. It was missing a waypoint. There you go. My database had an error. There you go. It's not always accurate. It's why you check these things. Maximum 185 knots. Missed approach. We got 185 there. That's fine. So initially flying 2,600 feet. 2,600 feet. Perfect. Then we hold. And the hold. Kilo Whiskey. On the chart. 089 right turns. Yes, that's correct. Good. 1 minute legs. Perfect. This approach is great. Right, so I was saying earlier, Q&H. Forecast. Transition level, put 7.5. 1025. That's the Q&H. ISA. Now, it's sea level, this place, more or less, give or take 50 feet. Okay, it doesn't matter. We know the temperature deviates 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. Yeah? Great. So there's no... Oh, yawning again. There's no adjustment there for the altitude. Great. However, ISA is 15 degrees at sea level. Place at sea level. It's not 15 degrees, it's 23. It's warm. We've got an 8 degree difference. So ISA deviation, 8. You can put a minus when it's negative. It's a negative ISA correction, but this time it's a positive. So 8 degrees. So as the winds were the same as well on the way up, as they were the way, and they're going to be the same on the way down. Five or 310, 200, 100. It's 291 at 18 each time. This just helps VNAV with the descent management. Obviously, you've got different winds as you're going down. You put them in. This is what they are today. There you go, that's our descent page filled in. Should send to my heading bug. Okay, so let's recap really what we've done. We've got the minimas. They filled in the descent page, the ISA deviation, the Q&H. This really helps with the path that VNAV is going to generate for us down to the minimas. 5-10 feet. The auto brake is set. We've got our courses here, which are just a memory thing. Frequencies, you could set it up. We would in real life. You'd set up the ILS, you know, as a guide, but there's no point. Just say it's out of service, so there's no point putting it in. We are missing one thing. I've got our fixed strings as well. I forgot to mention. Sorry, we've done that. and we're missing our VREF speed. Very important. We're light, but you know it's a 40-ton plane landing on an extremely short runway. Progress page 1. So, got 3.3 tons of fuel at the moment. We're going to land with 3.2 tons now. Okay, so you get the difference, which is 800 kilos. So we're going to burn 800 kilos. This is our current weight. So we're going to burn 800, so that'll be 44.7. Yeah, 800 off of that. Flat 40, because we're light, 115 knots. And we're going to fly at +5. Always fly at +5. This aeroplane becomes a different beast when you fly it below VREF. So fly at +5. And that is it really. Not much more to say about this. We've got the landing elevation. The fixturings are in. The minimums are there. The VREF is set. The auto brake's at maximum. That way if I don't have time to press the pedals, the auto brake's taking care of our stopping. And that's it. We're good to go really. Fixturings are in. The courses are there. The frequencies, they're not needed. We've sorted out we've sorted out the missed approach. We know what we're doing. We know what we're doing on the arrival. We've talked through that. Yeah, there's not more to say. So what I'm going to do, in the sake of my sanity and yours, this is slow, I'm going to go direct to Wick. Yeah, that's fine. Execute. LNAV, LNAV. Right, off we go. Same landing fuel. That's fine. We don't need to adjust that. Minute 59. So we've got another half an hour still before we get there. I'm just thinking about what we're going to do. So we're going to land. The MSA down there doesn't seem too high. Looks about 2,000 feet really. There's some hills around. It's an island chain up there, and I think the highest hills in the area are about 2,000 feet, just shy, 1,500 odd, 1,600. I think the wind farms are taller than some of the mountains actually, some of the hills, so it's not a big problem for us. But what we're going to do, how to fly this. So what we want to do is we want to choose a point where we select a lower altitude. Okay? I'm just going to zoom in here. Bear with me. So we've got Abtor. Great. So this is going to be a very busy segment. There's going to be a lot of selections on the MCP panel, checklists, configuration changes. So Abtor, that's not our final fix. Our final fix is Papa Alpha 27 Foxtrot, which is at 4 miles. Now, if that's the point we're going to use to start configuring the autopilot to fly this approach, 4 miles isn't very good because we're already really halfway down the approach. So what we're going to do is choose a point before that. So I'm going to choose Abtor. So 2 miles before Abtor. Actually, we don't need that. I'm wrong. Don't listen to me. We're not choosing Abtor. We're going to choose Rudku. Rudku's better. Rudku's there. Makes more sense. Abtor's a bit early. So Abtor, a mile before Abtor, we'll select the lower altitude of 1,600 feet. Okay? And then the plane will descend. 2 miles before Rudku, we'll say approaching descent. We'll select the minimum is rounded up to the next 100, so 600 feet. Okay? So it'll be 600 feet. VNAV path and speed into vent. Okay? The FAF is here, but we'll call Rudku the FAF. So it's the initial fix, but we can call it a FAF. So we can say, actually, we can't use Rudku as the FAF. That's wrong. We'll have to use the FAF here at Papa Alpha 27 Foxtrot. So we'll go past there. We know we want to be 1,600 feet at or above. And at Papa Alpha 210 Foxtrot, we want to be at 1,600 feet, which is programmed here. So that'll be a faff. We'll double check that. In the sake of sanity, we'll configure the gear earlier by a mile, because this is too much going to be happening at once. Altitudes versus distances on the way down, 1 or 2 of them. There's only 3 miles really, so we know this is 1,600 feet. 3 miles, you know, you're not high. 1,200 feet more or less. You'll be looking outside anyway. There's so much going on. It's very quick. 1,000 feet above the ground, top of the white bar. Reselect this altitude window here. You want to put in the missed approach altitude, 2,600 feet in our case. Once you've done that, automatic stand. It will fly it for you. There's a little bit of manipulation going on, but then it flies it for you. It's a very simple approach. That's it. And then last minute we'll disconnect the autopilot, auto throttle, and we'll land it. Simple as that. Another 10 minutes till I drop on top of descent. Good rule of thumb, 80 miles in the cruise, 10 minutes. Yeah, 29 at the moment. Cruise, top of descent, 39. Look at that. 80 miles, 10 minutes. That's a rule of thumb. Pilots use a lot of rule of thumbs. You don't have to be good at math at all. Maths is not a massive requirement. Oh, don't get me wrong, you need a basic understanding, but I know some people who've gotten into the airlines, even private, private jet flying, stuff like this, and they're useless. I mean, I'm no one to say anything. I'm pretty useless myself, but you know, I got some good grades at high school, and that was it. I didn't go to university. I just went to high school, finished that, did my PPL when I was at high school, and then I went to flight school afterwards and got my commercial license. I applied to a couple of jobs, got offered a few jobs, and I chose the one I wanted and got in. I was lucky enough. I got it easy. There was a big shortage of pilots when I started joining the airlines in 2018 in Europe, and I got in. I got quite lucky. Survived the pandemic. I wasn't flying very much, but I was flying once every 2 months, just to keep planes in the air. The odd rescue flight for passengers, things like that, now and again, that we were doing. Summers were busy, the winters were dead, the holidays were busy, and then that was it really. Now things have returned back to normal, but I'm not flying at the moment. Slight medical issue, but hopefully I'll be back later on. So yeah, I thought I'd make these videos for you guys that would be interested in how this all works. I'm not going through checklists, but because it's quite complicated. The checklists are very extensive, especially the airline I work for. The checklists are very long. Boeing's checklists are much better. If you look at the landing checklist for the Boeing, it will say gear down, flaps 30. That's it. You know, some checklists out there will go, are the start switches in continuous? Is the recall being checked? Is the speed brake arms with a green light? You're just like, you know, this is simple stuff that you do on a daily basis that you don't forget. There's a big saying in aviation: aviate, navigate, communicate. You fly the plane, then you know where you're going, then you communicate, then you do your checks. With the airlines, I get it, I understand why. There's been too many incidents and accidents where things have been forgotten. A good example was the Turkish Airlines flight, flying into Amsterdam. There's Airbus guys who were rated on the 737, you know. All they did, and I'll show you what they did, was this. That was it. It's insidious. Auto throttle was out. I didn't realise. They're on final approach, and you know, in the Airbus, the difference is obviously in the Airbus you put the throttles in a detent. On the Boeing they move, right? I'll put the auto throttle back in now. FSC speed, check your FMAs. So for them, recently converted, they just thought it was in a detent, you leave it be, which is what the Airbus does with the auto throttle with their system, not on the Boeing. Auto throttle disconnected, the throttles were idle basically, or just above idle. They start putting the gear down on final approach, get into a landing configuration, the speed is trickling away, they don't understand why the auto throttle's not dealing with it, and they stall and they crash. I can't remember how many people died, 12, 7, 8, I can't remember. Luckily it wasn't the worst crash, because it was kind of I'm not saying a controlled stall, it wasn't, it was a terrible situation for them. It was a silly mistake, but again, checklists are important. It covers this type of stuff. There's been a lot of incidents that could have been avoided, and all it takes is this. It takes some words on the decal checklist here. This is actually quite good. This isn't too extensive. This is nice. See, start switch is continuous, unnecessary. Speed brake arms, it's good to do. Landing is down, flaps 30 green light or whatever, 40 green light today. So for our sake, descent checklist wise, the landing altitude 100 feet is set. Anti-ice is off, not required for descent. The approach briefing is done. We've discussed the fuel. We know that the reserves are 1.8 tons. We're landing with 2.4. That's 600 kilos extra. So each 5-minute segment is 200 kilos. So 600 kilos, yeah? So 200 kilos, 400 kilos, 600 kilos. 15 minutes. So we have 15 minutes to spare because our reserves of 1.8. So we've got 15 minutes, so we've got a go around, more or less, before we make a decision whether we can do the approach again or we have to divert. And then we've got the IAS speed and altimeter bugs. Altimeter bugs, 510. Speed, plus 41.15. Auto brake maximum. It's checked and it's set. It's on both sides. There it is. And that's out of the descent checklist done. Okay, top of descent's coming up now. I've got another like 3-4 minutes to go. So I'll just descend a bit early. We're high anyway. Scottish have given us descent down to flight level 2. Nah, lower. 1.6. They say descend high speed, so we're going to go, okay, thank you. Altitude intervent. The path has come up. I'm going to do it in vertical speed. I prefer it. We'll do 1,000 feet a minute. We're going to be below the path. Let's speed up Mach 8.1. We're going down. 1,000 feet a minute. 0.81 selected. See, we're below the path. The top of descent point was over here. So we're going to be below that 3-degree path all the way down. So what is the path that this VNAV calculates? It gives you the most efficient path down to the runway. It gives you, basically, those thrust levers will retard to idle, and they will stay at idle all the way down until you start putting the gear down and stuff. That's the whole point of it. That's what VNAV calculates. It's very clever, very accurate. It's also very wrong. Can be, anyway. So you'd find that out with when it has to recalculate, and it's just a nightmare sometimes. It's just an absolute nightmare. You know, you get a shortcut. Like if this was over here and we had to do this dogleg segment, but they gave us a direct, we would be extremely high. So you'd have to go speed brake, level change, increase the speed. I mean, you can't for this case because we're already at the maximum we can do. This will make no difference. 0.1 of a mag, so we'll just leave it at 0.81. So yeah, VNAV sometimes can be against you. That's it. Coming in over Scotland. EGPH, posh houses, that's Edinburgh. PF, poor something, I'll let you figure out what the F stands for. At the end. That means Glasgow. I believe that's Dundee, PD. Actually flown there in a Cessna a long time ago. Good fun. Obviously we're carrying on into the abyss. So chicken tikka masala way down. Yeah, so we'd set it at constant Mach, so do it on your 3 fingers again, but put your thumb up, and then imagine that you're descending now, so as you're going down your thumb. So as you're going down, your calibrated airspeed and your true airspeed are now going to increase. Because we're descending at a constant Mach. You can actually currently see it in real time here, 57, 58, 75, yeah, just keep watching because we're doing it at 8.1, 59, 75 still, should keep going up. $3,000 feet below the path, we're only doing 1,000 feet a minute. $61, 73. I don't know why that's decreasing. It should be going up as well. Because that and that are linked. That's probably the wind actually, not helping. Who knows? Who knows? There you go, that's the extent of my knowledge. Path's coming in now. So target speed is 0.808. We'll change that. 0.815. Make it nice and quick. We're not here to mess about, we want to get there. So watch, if I press VNAV now, it will keep this rate of descent. It'll keep it. Just watch. VNAV, read your FMAs. Lo and behold, nothing's changed. It will speed up slightly because you said 815 and we're doing 81. I don't know why that is indicating 80 when it should be 815. So just watch, because we were discussing earlier about the changeover from Mach number to airspeed. This is done by VNAV or manually. You can do it yourself. It's to do with the speed you've selected. So obviously it will change over when the Mach number starts to equal the speed. So obviously we've got a good few knots to go, 50 odd knots to go. So now we're going to retard. There we go, retard. Thrust lever's coming back, thrust coming back, and it's going to pitch for the speed. It's going to pitch for 815. 2.4 tons landing at 2.7, 2.7. Perfect. This figure for fuel isn't what's detected in here. This figure and this figure are completely separate. This is what's calculated. This is what is actually measured in the tank. So, in theory, we need 92 miles. Just look at the first two numbers. 92 miles. Our VREF is about 200. It's going to be less than that, but say it's 200. So we need another 10 there. We're going to might have... No, we've got no headwinds. It's fine. We need about 100... Yeah, just shy of 100 miles. Oh, we got 78. That's fine. Not bad. Really pitching the nose down. Watch, here comes the changeover. Oh, this bug is almost at 335. That's 20. That's 30. 335 will be there. It's gone into speed. Can't cope with the path. Path's coming back though. Should go back to path in a second. Path. There we go. It's caught the path. That's fine. It's gone to 330. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. We'll do level change. It's absolutely glitched. Target speed should be 330. There we go. But that was the changeover. It just really glitched. VNAV. On path. Good. VNAV path. So we're coming in, times 44, we're landing at 00, it's about 15, 16 minutes. Put the belts on. Cabin crew know what to do. We're empty anyway, so it's fine. Yeah, we're absolutely bombing it down. Guess we're going to one of these islands over here. Put terrain on, there's no weather at all. No need to dodge these CBs. So I was speaking so much, I forgot to do it. Passing 300, flight level 300, just goes back to angle bang 25. Rate 1 turns. So yeah, we're descending. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a realistic scenario here. The Scottish going to say, you've got traffic below, we need to hold you off at 160. So you're like, oh okay, but you're free speed. Okay, vertical speed then. We've got 160 coming up. We do 2,000 feet a minute, and we're free speed, so we're going to bring that speed back, because we're fast, you know, and we're going to be high in a minute. We'll bring that back, 250 knots. Descent page. I'll just update it, so it gives us a new path. One to go on the altitude. Vertical speed 1,000. That speed's coming up. We're getting high, 1,400 feet high. Get the speed brake out, get the speed back. Let's bring it back even further, 230 knots. Reduce that rate of descent. When you put the speed brake out, this rate of descent gets greater. Even though you told it to do 1,000, it won't. Always do a bit more. The trick is get that speed back as quick as you can. You're covering less distance. It gives you more distance to get down. There you go. Scottish is going to say thank you so much for your help. You'll clear the traffic. You're allowed to descend now. Clear descend flight level 80. Okay, thank you. 80 it is. Bash level change first. You want to get it down. No time for fanning about. 80. 80 is checked, level change. Right, we want to get down now. Look at that, 2,700 feet. If we speed up to 70, that should change the path a bit. So let's put that 270 knots. Let it accelerate, it's going to pitch down. Going to recover the heights. We're speeding up. Let's get a 280, 290 even. Let's get that height back. Let's get the altitude back, I should say, sorry. We're 290, update the FMC. What's the path saying? 2.4, that's fine. Yeah, the speed brake's out. Doesn't help really, because it's just not decelerating anymore. We've got a restriction again. 250 below 100. Bing bong, set a cabin secure. Okay, line aviator 23, clear descends, altitude 5,000 feet. Okay, 5,000 feet, we've got continuous descent, this makes life easier. 5,000 feet, you have to maintain a restriction of 250 knots below 100. So, we're at 290 now, get the speed brake out, keep getting that height down, keep getting the height down. Going through 100 very shortly, so, start bringing that speed back. 250 knots below 100. Vertical speeds. Let's do 100 feet a minute. We've only got 400 feet to go. Let's get that speed back. We're still high. Level change again. Keep the speed brake out. Still high, 800 high. So we set the QNH as well, because we're setting to an altitude, 025, past 2,200 feet, no altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 025 is set, standby altimeter is set, there are no unusual flags there, good. Past 10,000, do our 10 checks, oop, wrong buttons, fuel's balanced, 4 pumps, lights are on, angle bank 25, air conditioner pressurization is set, passenger belts are on, recalls checked, 1215, we've tuned that out. Altitude's coming back nicely. What we want to do is we want to get this in VNAV. We want it to do the hard work for us. So we've got a decel point over here. We're doing 250 below 100. We're doing 250. We're below 100. That's perfect. Altitude's coming back. We're good. Without the speed brake though, I'm not going to lie, we would be struggling. This aeroplane is very slippery. Now, cabin secure, we've done our 10 checks, we're sent to an altitude, we can do our approach checks as well. So this is coming back. VNAV, reduce the workload now, VNAV path. Speed brake back in. So frequency is not applicable. Range rings we got 10 and 4 there, and 25 miles for runway 27. Idents there aren't any. Standby instruments and frequencies not required, but they're set. Courses 269, 269, 269's in here. We've got our minimas, got our elevation, got our auto brake. We're good, we're covered, we haven't done anything wrong, we're doing well. Okay, we got our next clearance. Clear descend, clear for the RMP via Abdul, runway 27. Clear descend altitude 2,600 feet. So, 2,600 feet. And you're clear to descend with the procedure. So, you get the chart out, you'll have a look at what we're doing. So, a reminder, Abdul, 2,600 feet and above. Speeding back, we're going to decelerate. After Abdul, we're slowing down. Rudku. So, 1 mile before Abdul, we're going to select 1,600 feet. At 2 miles before Rudku, we're going to select 600 feet, VNAV path, speed interval. We're going to do that turn. We'll be configuring flaps 5. We're going to be nice and slow. Configure early. At the FAF, we'll do our FAF check, but we'll configure a little bit earlier at 5 miles. distances versus altitudes on the way down if we can manage them. There's a lot going on. We'll look outside. If we get the pappies and we're visual, we don't need to do distances versus the altitude. There's no point in doing that check. Just have a look at what's going on. Okay. Get the VSD up. Blunder error. Very important. And obviously then you got 1,000 feet. At 1,000 feet, you're going to recycle the MCP altitude window, and you're going to put in there 2,600 feet for the missed approach. And that's it. And you're done. Airplane will be configured to land, and we will be landing. Everything configured. Be that easy. We just have to remember to fly it, because obviously we don't fly this airplane. This plane is all done with automation. Look outside, enjoy the view. That's where we're going, over here. There's the airport, I believe, just there. Nice scenery. I can even see a wind farm. Look at that. My graphics are low because obviously we're getting 20 frames per second. Not brilliant. But then with Flight Simulator, you don't really need much more. So VNAV is decelerating the aircraft. We're decelerating on cue with the bug. If we were fast, we need speed brake. If we're low, we don't need speed brake, but we'll get the flaps out earlier. So Boeing recommends you get the flaps out when you reach the flaps up bug. You can do it before. Of course you can. All we have to do is look down here. Flaps 1, 250 knots. Oh, 250, you can pull them out. No problem. But we're not high, we're not low, we're not fast, we're not slow. Why do you bother? There's no point. The aeroplane is at idle thrust. We're decelerating nicely. We're sorted. We don't need to fiddle. We're close enough now. Up bug. Flaps 1. Now, it will bug it for you. Speed intervent. We'll bug it ourselves. Better to be in control of your speed. Aptor, we're approximately a mile now coming up. We're only 1,000 feet, less than now. Next waypoint. Rudku, what, 2,600. Sorry, Rudku 1,600. One to go checked. So, that is set. 1,600 feet is checked. We're on the QNH. We're descending. It's looking good. Right, we're still going to decelerate now. We're going to go flaps 5. The turn is tight. There we go. Bring that speed back. Match the heading. Two miles is our approaching descent point. Speed's not coming back now, so I'm going to go flaps 10. Are we visual? Probably, I just can't see it because the graphics are terrible. 2 miles coming up now, so 600 feet, set, VNAV path, speed is intervent. It's going to be a left turn now. Any second. Runway heading is 269 degrees, so we're going to set that. Left turn, 269 degrees. LNAV's doing it all for us. Thrust is coming up. I'm just matching my own. There we go. Should be turning. Trying to see the runway. There it is. I can just see it over there. We're visual. Perfect.
2,500.
Terrain is noted. The runway is on the green ground here, so there's no blunder error. We're looking okay. And we are visual. There's the runway. Now, this is a very shallow descent to this point here. We've only got 1,000 feet to lose. So we'll see what VNAV does. Yeah, We're burning extra fuel. We got more drag out than we need. It's very shallow. Didn't need this. Flaps back up to 5. Flaps 5, flaps 10 speed is the same. Go back to 5. It will reduce the power now, as you can see, because there's less drag. Burning less fuel. I want to take that turn very slowly. And the speed was increasing, it wouldn't decrease, so flaps 10 to the rescue. So we're about 5 miles now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go gear down. Flaps 15. Match the speed. Landing checklist of flaps. We've been cleared to land. So start switch is continuous. The recall is checked. The speed brake is armed with a green light. So landing it down through green. Flaps are 15. So we're going to keep going all the way down to 40 now. Just configure early. BREF. Plus the 5 knots. Auto brake maximum is set. The flaps 40. 40, green light. We're at our FAF now. Well, that's 600. That's good. It makes sense. There's the runway. 2 whites, 2 reds. Altitude checks are not required. We're doing very nice. Next thing. Top of the white bar, 1,000 feet. We're going to recycle for the missed approach altitude, 2,600 feet. Got progress page 4, monitoring our RNP performance, actual, cross-track error, vertical deviation. We're all bang on. It's doing it all for us. Thrust, about 57%. 54. 1,000 feet.
1,000.
Checked. Missed approach altitude 2,600 feet. There it is. It's set. Put the weather radar on my side. And that's it. The automatics will fly the entire RNP approach for you up until the missed approach point, which is coming up. So we've got 3 reds now. It's doing a good job. Disconnect the auto throttle. Autopilot. Manual flight, looking outside.
Caution, terrain.
Okay, we're ignoring that. That must be a glitch.
Terrain.
Check.
Minimums.
Continue.
Caution, terrain.
Check.
Caution,
2 reds.
terrain.
2 reds, 2 whites. We're ignoring the caution.
Caution, terrain.
In real life you wouldn't, obviously, but this is definitely a
Caution,
glitch.
terrain.
The gear is down, the flaps are there,
Caution,
we've done our
terrain.
checks. Everything is good.
Caution, terrain.
Now we're a little bit high.
Pull up.
We don't want to do any of
Terrain,
this.
terrain. Pull up.
This,
Terrain,
for some reason,
terrain. Pull
is not
up.
liking it.
Terrain, terrain. Pull up.
Killing the power.
10.
Touchdown zone, speed brakes are up. Reversers, normal, maximum. Manual braking. And we've landed. And we've used a lot less than 1,400 meters. Now that was a stable approach, nothing was wrong with that. It's in the terrain database. PMDG, for some reason, I do not know why, just does not like that. No idea. But anyway, we're done, we're down. Taxiing left. But we did well. Just tidying up the aircraft, 4 units of trim, the flap start speed rates down. Done a recall. Check this, it's okay. Check that, that's fine. Yeah, looking at the ground chart now. I think the last exits, the last one here is better than this first one. I think you come round and then you can taxi back out. So we'll do that. Doing 15 knots, coming up to the turn. Just tap those brakes slightly, nice and slow. A bit of differential thrust for the turn. Round we go. Even got a marshaller, look at that. Where does he want us? I have no idea what those signals mean. I mean, I know what marshaller signals mean, but that doesn't mean anything to me. It's good enough for me. Put the APU on. There you go, parking brake is set. And the lights off. Turn those off. We can shut down engine number 2 whilst we're waiting. For the APU. And come on, APU. Almost there. Whenever it wants to. But yeah, the cleanup cycle. Flaps, speed brake, auto brake, probe heat. There we go, there's the APU. Turn the APU on. Lights, spectre steady. So 2 blues, 1 red. It's dead. Belts are off. Air and crew. Disarm the slides, open the doors. You're waiting for 20% N2. In the meantime, voice recorder can go on. I can go to open. 20% is now. Anti-collision goes off. And then you get the shutdown checklist out and you're done. If you want a full cold and dark, you would turn these off. That's the only difference, really. Okay. And then you just turn all the other things off. You do your secure checklist, which should be turning these to off. Turn your fuel pumps off except one. Trimmer. The packs. The lights can stay there. And obviously you take the APU off of the bus. Take the lights off. You'd wait a minute. Sorry, you would wait. You take the APU off, then you'd wait a minute. You'd wait for that APU door to shut. And then you can turn the battery off.